States Clerk's Office for the Southern District of Texas, Houston Division. Please hold for the next available clerk. Thank you.
You are the second caller in the queue. Thank you for holding.
U.S. District Court Clerk's Office, Houston, Texas. Today is Monday, October 27, 2025. So they hung up. This is our government, y'all.
You have reached the United States Clerk's Office for the Southern District of Texas.
A federal candidate.
Please hold for the next available clerk. Thank you.
I'm a federal candidate right now.
Second caller in the queue. Thank you for holding.
Good morning, U.S. Courts. How can I help you?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Ronald Dwayne Whitfield, and on October 20th of this year and on October 23 of this year, I presented to the clerk of this court two separate filings on those days, a motion as a vexatious litigant to file a motion for temporary restraining order. And again, an FBI agent had brought, his name is Garcia, the second one in as a duplicate, and he received an upside down file mark. And Pacer has shown that those motions have not been filed, actually docketed and presented to Judge Miller, and this they pertain to election interference. And I'm a candidate in this race, and I've mailed a application to the Supreme Court. And now, when they receive the petition and there's no underlying case, ma'am, can you figure out why those motions have not been filed?
You said your last name was Whitfield. What was the first, or did you have a case number for me to look at it directly?
You say a case number to look in it directly?
To look at your case directly versus me just doing a name search.
Okay, if I understood you correctly, my name is Ronald Dwayne Whitfield. Is that what you're asking?
Okay. Well, I was asking, I know you gave me your name earlier, Mr. Whitfield. I was trying to see whether or not you had the case number.
Right, they didn't.
Your information is associated with, or did you need me to do a name search?
Right, they did not. Normally in the past they would have assigned a miscellaneous case number. If that's what you're asking, they didn't do that. Again, the first time I presented it myself, well, each time I did, but before I could get okay, so October 20, I submitted the filing. They stamp marked me by duplicate as filed, but without assigning me a case number. So I don't have a case number for each filing.
Okay. Okay, and you said on October 20th, correct?
Yes, it was the same day of early voting. And then
Okay, I have on file the fact that on October 20th, you provided us an motion for leave to file a new complaint.
okay, so but it's not docketed, correct?
Well, it's docketed as a motion for leave because we're still operating under the fact that it appears you have a preclusion order, which says that all filings have to be sent to Judge Miller first for approval. So for us, what that means is we can't open a new case or anything like that necessarily. We have to get approval from Judge Miller before we can enter information from you.
Right now, right. But here's the
system.
here's the thing though. They have to docket it as a miscellaneous case, and they just cannot forward it to him because that violates the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. They have to randomly file it. Now, I'm aware of that preclusion order. At the time, I just couldn't do anything about it, but now with the internet and he can't get away with that with the Supreme Court. There has to be an actual case under the Supreme Court president. I know you're not an attorney, but Judge Miller, right now, I've just mailed to the Supreme Court a petition for a writ of mandamus. There's no actual case or controversy. It's no different than the Judge Miller as an off-duty police officer. He does not have authority to rule until he's an officer of the court, ma'am. In other words, the clerk of this court should have. Okay, ma'am, you might have to let the clerk know because it's going to the Supreme Court. It's already mailed. It's already filed. When they get it, there's no case. He has to see. Right now, he's running out of clock. But even apart from that, he cannot. It has to be docketed as a miscellaneous case, and then when he approves it, then it goes to a civil action. But to not docket it as anything, he can't even act at all. And he knows the Supreme Court has already stated that in the Steel Company versus Citizen, you have to have a case, ma'am. It could be a miscellaneous, but the Constitution requires an actual case or a controversy. So would you pass that on to the clerk himself? Let him know that I've used AI to get it all over the world. They've contacted Pacer. Pacer shows no active case, miscellaneous nor civil. In the election, see, man, when he acts, he's waiting. What he's doing is committing a crime. Judge Miller is committing a crime, and the public is watching it play out now. So let the clerk know, clerk, you don't want to be involved in what Judge Miller, they will arrest him just like they arrested that other judge. No, they're not going to play with him. This is, ma'am, it's called election. The White House has been alerted. They call this national interference. They call this a national threat. Docket the case so the Supreme Court of the United States can get involved. You can rule up or down, but you can't disenfranchise the voters. So I'm asking you specifically, and now I've got to call the Supreme Court and let them know that what I mail, there's no case. There's not even a case. The clerk didn't even docket it as a miscellaneous case. And lastly, ma'am, in the past, when I've done this here, the clerks have always docketed it as a miscellaneous case. And then when Judge Gilmore approved it, they docketed it as a civil case, and Judge Miller came right behind her and lied and said I did not get permission. But at that time, I did not have public support. I do now. And the public pressure was forced. And lastly, I was assaulted in the clerk's office on the 23rd in front of an FBI agent, Garcia. When we get up, and they took my phone, deleted the evidence, and then pushed me out the courthouse. So, ma'am, it's finna be, and I'm recording the call, so let the clerk know that he's recorded the call. He's already saying that there's no miscellaneous case unlike in the past, and he's mailed to the Supreme Court a writ of mandamus, and when I have to call him and tell him, well, there's not even, I was under the assumption that the case was pending. Just for him to rule up or down. Y'all don't even have a case. Does that make sense, ma'am?
The only thing I can tell you is we follow what the orders are.
I get that, ma'am.
And the last order we have specifically states, and I'm going to read it word for word. The clerk of the court is ordered not to accept any pleadings or open any new civil cases unless you first satisfy all monetary sanctions previously imposed and presents a signed order from Senior United States Judge Gray H. Miller authorizing the filing of a pleading or new civil action.
Ma'am, you all have already
that if we receive something, we are not to file it. That is the order we have, and that is what we follow.
But I want to be clear.
It is appealed or said otherwise at the Supreme Court, Supreme Court wants to, let me downgrade that. This circuit or later on the Supreme Court want to say otherwise. I don't see any other order that counteracts that last order that we have regarding your case.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that.
So,
but let me clarify.
If we open a case for you, then we are not doing as we have been directed by the judge.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
We are following the judge's direction. I understand that you do not agree with that.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
You are welcome to file something saying you don't agree with it because
no, ma'am.
It runs contrary to whatever case you cited earlier.
But what
that's not anything I can do anything about. That's something you have to file, and you have to let it proceed through the court system one way or the other. But I can't change how it's been entered in the system at all.
Okay.
I can just say it's showing up. We do have that you have filed a motion for a new complaint, and depending on the ruling one way or the other, we can do a new case.
Ma'am.
Signs off on it, but not before that.
Okay, here's the thing that you missed in that order, and I was trying to, tell you, the judge knows that he cannot. That he would be in violation of the First Amendment, freedom of speech, and the petition of government. He can't do that. But still, what he said was a civil action. The action has to be docketed as a miscellaneous. That's different. It's not a civil action until that's the screening part of it. That's under the All Writs Act. I believe there's a federal law somewhere. Somebody. So that. Well, see, I'm trying to. Well, there can be no misunderstanding about the law. As in the past, they have to docket those cases as miscellaneous. Then, like when Judge Gilmore authorized the filing as a civil action, it's a difference between truck passing by. So I just want to be clear on this here because the public and it's a difference between a miscellaneous case and a civil action. The miscellaneous case just gives the judge the the court the jurisdiction and the judge the judicial authority to consider the motion's merits. And if the judge decides to deny the motion or grant it, then so like when Judge Gilmore granted it, it was then docketed as a civil action. If the judge denies it, then there's a case where the Fifth Circuit can review or for the Supreme Court, but to not docket it at all and for it to not be a public record, that's a whole different thing is what I'm specifying. I do understand.
Docketed, and it is a public record. It's docketed in the case with the preclusion order in it as a pending motion for the judge to rule on.
Well, that's the wrong. That's
docketed in a miscellaneous case, but docketed as a motion.
Yeah, but that case is closed. That case is closed. So it's okay, man. What you call a judge's chamber, let them know that it's in the Supreme Court, and what he's doing is committing a crime. He cannot play out of this, man. That has to be docketed as a miscellaneous case. That preclusion order is maybe considered a standing order, whatever, but the case is closed, and you cannot deny anybody access to courts, even a vexatious litigant. If my lawsuit has my motion shows I'm entitled to relief, and it's a constitutional violation. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land, not the judge's order. The Constitution is what's controlling here, not his order. So if they can have procedures, but you can't block my pass from going to the Fifth Circuit and the Supreme Court. And that's what he has done. So I need to call the Supreme Court and get the FBI involved, because right now this is an election that he's interfering with. All I'm saying, just want to be clear, I would wish you would let the clerk know he's not saying that the orders that he cannot file a civil action without permission, but he's saying that there's no case at all. It's not docketed as a miscellaneous case. That's what I was.
It is docketed in a miscellaneous case as a pending motion. Just because the case is closed does not mean we're not monitoring it or
No, ma'am.
one way or the other.
Okay, that's the type of defense that's not gonna work, man. He knows that just like the other cases, they were docketed with their own case number, so everybody could go and look at that. He is hiding from the public that ma'am, he's not gonna get away with that. God forbid he get away with that. I'm asking you to tell the clerk to don't be stupid. AIs on X, they've already collaborated. You got 3 different AIs that when it got it all over the world, what he is doing. So when would you please let him know? And then I was assaulted in the courthouse by the U.S. Marshal, and you think you're gonna hide that from the public? I'm trying to use the case number so the Supreme Court can order all this information. FBI special agent went outside and told me, man, don't let them do you like that. You playing right into their trap. Pick your battle. I had FBI watch them do it. And okay, thank you, ma'am. They know FBI watched them do it.
All right. Have a good day.